Welcome to the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast. I am your host, Christine Diane Thompson, and this podcast is for dietitians who are ready to stop apologizing for wanting more money, more freedom, and a career that actually honors everything that you bring to the table. This is where we ditch the guilt and start building something big. If that resonates with you, let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Hey there, my dietitian friends. Welcome to episode 369 of the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast. So great to have you back for another episode this week. If you're new here, I want to welcome you to the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all things money, mindset, and everything in between. And if you are a returning listener, thanks for sticking in with me. Can you believe that we have almost 370 episodes of this podcast? Woo, that is a lot of episodes, my friends. If you don't know the history of this podcast, I have been recording episodes every single week since 2019. Gosh, when did I start in 2019? I want to say it was the fall of 2019. I really should try to remember that so I can do an anniversary every year, like an anniversary episode or something like that. But I started this podcast as a way to really get the message out there about the importance of us truly understanding the mindset around being able to make more money. Now, this episode is not only about how to make more money. Okay, this is not what this is. So we're not talking about strategies and frameworks and funnels and all kinds of businessy things. There are businessy things here, but this is a podcast that is really all about mindset. Okay. And so today I want to really dig a little deeper into mindset. Today, my friends, I really want to talk to you about the life and the mindset work that most business coaches skip. Okay. The reason why I'm confident that most business coaches skip this is because I've been around a long time. I have been in entrepreneurship in one iteration or another since 2003. I knew what the year was, but I was like, that's not how you say that, Christine. 2003? I have been in business and entrepreneurship in one iteration or another since 2003. Okay. And I believe it was last week that I talked a bit about that and how it all started. So I won't reiterate that part, but I have invested in myself through hiring coaches, buying courses, being part of masterminds and memberships, and just about anything in between. I've gone on retreats with my coaches and my mentors. And I remember when Instagram first started. All right. And good golly, I remember when Facebook first started. So I have been here for a very long time, my friends. And one of the things that I also have experienced is having my own clients, my dietitian clients, come to me after doing the investing themselves in hiring coaches and being a part of programs and things of that nature, but still feeling stuck. Okay. And I just want to say that there's no shade whatsoever to any of the coaches out there or any of the courses or programs. I do believe there is value in everything that we invest in as long as we decide that there's going to be value that we're going to receive from it. Okay. So that's not what this episode is about. But what it is about is really helping you understand that there is just a lot of work that needs to be done on the inside of us that is not addressed when we are seeking out business coaching. Okay. So, business coaches and business courses and programs will give you what they say they're going to give you, which is, help you grow your business. But it forgets. These programs forget, or maybe the person is not equipped to really address the mindset and the lifestyle things that are necessary for sustainable growth. Okay, and that's what I truly want to talk to you about. Okay, so when let me give an example. Okay, when clients come to you for weight loss, do they think they just need a meal plan? Of course. Usually, for those of you who work with clients who want to lose weight, okay, when they come to you, they think they just need a meal plan, or maybe you're going to help them understand a little bit more about their macronutrients, help them dial in their calories, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. But you and I both know that's never the whole story, because oftentimes they need to address their sleep, their stress levels, their relationship with food, maybe some boundary issues around family dynamics. And the meal plan is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And the same thing happens with business. Dietitians, oftentimes, like I mentioned, they'll come to me. They are thinking that they need a business strategy, like a better funnel, a new marketing approach, possibly, maybe some sales training, which I definitely am not going to do because that's not my lane. But almost every single time, what they actually need is to address their life circumstances and their limiting beliefs that are working against the success that they want to achieve. And I have learned this over and over again, working with so many dietitians over the years. Okay. I see it every single time, just about. Brilliant, very talented nutrition professionals who are literally spinning their wheels because they're trying to build businesses that don't match what's really going on in their lives. And the truth of the matter is, you can't strategy your way out of life's circumstances. Okay. So let's talk about what I mean by going against the grain of your life, because that is truly the problem. The problem is that a lot of times we get really gung ho about getting the business off the ground, or maybe getting to the next level in our business, and we ignore what's really going on in the reality of our lives. Okay. So when I say going against the grain, what this really means is that you're trying to build a business that requires you to be someone that you're not, or you're doing things that your current life circumstances can't actually support. And so this is what this looks like in real life. To give you an example, you're trying to create consistent content when you're emotionally depleted from taking care of everyone else's needs. You're attempting to launch a program when deep down you don't believe you are worth what you charge. Or perhaps you're trying to scale your business when you can barely manage the clients that you have right now, because your life is overwhelming your capacity to take on more. Or maybe you're building what you call a freedom business while operating from complete survival mode, making every decision from fear instead of abundance. And I see this all the time, my friends. I see this all the time with the dietitians that I work with. You'll be trying to show up confidently while battling imposter syndrome. You'll be coaching others on self care while you haven't even taken a real day off yourself in months. You'll be teaching about nourishment while you're running on empty because you are seeing your own clients back to back without a proper lunch. I literally just talked to somebody, a dietitian, who does not take a lunch because she is doing her charting in between and she's just like eating while she's doing her admin work. And this is not good, okay? Because it's like trying to swim upstream. You're working so much harder than you need to because you're fighting against the current of your own life. Okay? So let me give you an example or maybe a nutrition analogy, okay, that might help this click if it hasn't clicked yet, okay? So if someone comes to you wanting to lose weight, but they're working night shifts, going through a divorce, dealing with chronic illness, you wouldn't just hand them a generic meal plan and expect it to work, right? You'd address their sleep schedule, their stress levels, maybe even work on some emotional support systems first. But in business coaching, we often just skip right to the tactics without addressing the foundation. We assume everyone's starting from the same place, with the same capacity, with the same support systems, and with the same beliefs about their worth. And that, my friends, is why so many dietitians are literally flailing forward in business. And yes, I meant to say flailing. They are trying to implement strategies that don't match their current reality or capacity. So let's talk about some root issues that most business coaches skip. Okay. These are the deeper issues that I feel most business coaches don't really, I wouldn't say they ignore it on purpose, but I just think they're giving you what they say they're going to give you, which is business coaching, right? So let me break it down, these root issues. I want to break them down into two categories: life circumstances and then limiting beliefs. So, first, let's talk about life circumstances that may actually sabotage your business success. Number one, relationship dynamics. Huge one, okay? If you, my friend, are the emotional caretaker for everyone in your life, your partner, husband, wife, kids, maybe even aging parents, you're showing up to your business already depleted, most likely. And I used to have clients who would try to work on their business after spending all day managing everyone else's emotions. And to be very honest and transparent, this was me for many, many years. And when we're doing this, there is nothing left for creative thinking or strategic planning. So just remember, relationship dynamics are a big life circumstance that can sabotage your success in your business. The second thing is energy management, which is another big one, because you can't build a business when your tank is already empty. But somehow we expect ourselves to be able to show up really big in our work when we haven't addressed what's really draining us in the first place. All right. Another thing that I can say with full transparency, I have dealt with in the past. And then there are boundaries, or maybe I should say lack of boundaries. If you don't have systems to protect your time and your energy, my friends, you'll constantly be interrupted and pulled in different directions. I've had clients who couldn't focus on their business for more than 20 minutes at a time because they never create boundaries around their work time. So they're trying to fit it in. And we don't do that. We don't fit it in. We create time for the things that are important to us. Okay. And then this is one that a lot of us don't even think about. But with so many of us working from home, I want you to know that your home environment matters too. Because if you're trying to work in chaos, whether that's physical clutter, emotional chaos, or constant interruptions, your brain cannot do its best creative work. Now, lastly, let's talk about a big one, and that is financial survival mode. Friends, when you're scared about money, you make decisions from fear instead of strategy. You take on clients who are not a good fit because you need the cash. You undercharge because something feels better than nothing. And you can't invest in your business growth because you're just trying to make ends meet. So I want you to understand that life circumstances such as relationship dynamics, how you manage your energy day to day, how you manage boundaries and keep your home environment in check, and how you are doing financially, all of this matters. But, most business coaches expect you to have that all together, which we should, but most of us don't because we're humans, right? And we have lives and we are all experiencing life. Okay. But now I want to talk about the limiting beliefs that kill business growth. And these are very often invisible to us, but they are running the show. They are running the show behind the scenes. So the I'm not worthy to charge XYZ, this shows up as chronic undercharging. So if you're thinking thoughts like, I'm not worthy of asking for this, or, people are struggling right now and they only want to use their insurance to pay, or companies like Nourish and Faye and Berry Street are really just taking over. Like, all of this is really affecting how you get yourself out there. And it really results in you undercharging. Okay. Another limiting belief is I have to prove that I belong here. And this leads to overgiving and burnout. You say yes to everything, you over deliver to the point where it's not sustainable, and it's all because you're trying to prove that you deserve to be in business. You're trying to prove it. All right. Another limiting belief is that success means sacrifice. And I have heard this from other coaches teaching this. Okay. I had one person say, a coach I heard say that sleep is the enemy of success. I'm like, girl, no, I am getting my sleep. Okay. Crazy talk. So, success means sacrifice. This really creates unsustainable business models. You think that if you're not exhausted and stressed, then you're not working hard enough, which is crazy. And then the limiting belief, I should be grateful for money coming in, as long as it's money. I should be grateful for any money. And this prevents growth and it prevents scaling. If you're at the level in your business where it's time for you to scale to the next level, if you're constantly just thinking, I should be grateful that I have clients even that want to pay me, you're going to stay small because you feel guilty about wanting more. And here's the one that I find is common with us dietitians. Okay. This limiting belief that it's selfish to charge more. Now, if you think this, and I know there's a lot of dietitians who still think this, even though I've been doing this work for a very long time now, okay, there's still so many dietitians that believe this because guess what? There's still so many dietitians that don't even know that this podcast exists. They don't even know that I exist. They're still out there, and I still see the conversations in the different Facebook groups. It's selfish to charge more. And when you're thinking this, you have likely been conditioned to be more of a helper, to people please, to put others first. So asking for what you believe you deserve, in theory, feels wrong. Okay. Now, here's what I really want you to understand. These beliefs are not just thoughts that are floating around in your head. They directly impact your business decisions. They also determine how you price your services and how you show up online and what opportunities you say yes to and how you talk about your work. Now, here's the thing that really, really gets me. Women entrepreneurs, especially, are carrying what I call an emotional labor load. And very few people are talking about this in business coaching because we are managing everyone else's feelings, anticipating everyone's needs, smoothing over conflicts. We're remembering all the details that keep life running smoothly. And then you're supposed to have energy that's left over to build a business. It is no wonder, my friends, that so many of us are struggling. Now, let's dig a little deeper into why traditional business coaching fails us dietitians, especially. Okay. You might be wondering, man, you already said enough, Christine. Good golly. But I want you to understand why traditional business coaching does not address any of these things. And here's a few reasons. First, there's the one size fits all problem. Okay. Most business coaching is designed for people who don't have these particular challenges. And they assume that you're starting with a clean slate. Like I mentioned before, they are assuming that you're all good. Okay. And that maybe you have support systems in place, that you believe in your worth, and that you have the mental and the emotional bandwidth to implement strategies. It's not their job to help you deal with all those things. And they also assume that you're comfortable with traditional sales, okay? Maybe marketing as well. And you and I know we were not trained whatsoever in those areas, sales and marketing. I cannot tell you how many dietitians have told me that they tried to follow someone else's sales script and it felt so awkward. Then, my friends, there is what I call the just follow the formula myth. And this is where the coaches act like success is just about finding the right strategy and then just executing it perfectly, right? I used to have a coach who would tell me, just follow the recipe. And it's like, this is not a box cake, okay? This is my business. And some recipes you have to alter to your liking, right? But I digress, okay? Because I want you to know that strategies will fail when your inner world does not match what you're trying to do what you're trying to do externally. When your inner world doesn't match what you're trying to achieve externally, that's when the strategies fall flat. So, for example, if you're trying to charge premium prices, but you don't actually believe that you're worth it or that your clients will pay for it, then those clients are going to sense that. Okay. They're going to sense your uncertainty. And if you're trying to show up confidently online while battling imposter syndrome, people will pick up on that energy. Energy is very strong. All right. Now, most business coaches focus only on external tactics like the funnel and the marketing and the sales processes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Life coaches focus only on the internal work, the beliefs, the emotions, the personal growth. But very few understand how to bridge both together effectively. All right. And here's what I've learned over the years of doing this work: you need both. You need someone who understands your business struggles, and that these business struggles are often life struggles in disguise. You need someone that gets that addressing your limiting beliefs is not separate from business strategy. It is part of your business strategy. Okay. So I like what I call the foundation first approach. So, what does it look like to actually address these deeper issues, which is what I call the foundation first approach or the mindset first approach? It has 4 key steps that I have literally identified over time of working with clients for many, many years. Okay. So, this first step is about auditing your life capacity. And this means getting brutally honest about where your energy is actually going. So, you'll want to do an energy assessment. What's energizing you? What's draining you? And then look at your relationships. Who's supporting you? Who's constantly just taking? Okay. So take inventory of all the emotional labor that you're doing that no one else really sees. And then here's a big one: I want you to do a time reality check. When do you actually have focused, uninterrupted time to work on your business? Not when you're supposed to have time or when you hope to have time, but when do you actually have time? Because there's no point, my friends, in creating a business plan that requires 20 hours a week if you realistically only have 8. You are not fooling anyone but yourself. Okay. So, step 1 is all about auditing your life capacity. And then the next step is to address your limiting beliefs. And this is where you do the real work, in my opinion. You are really examining why you deserve to be paid well for the work that you provide. You also work on moving from scarcity patterns to more abundant thinking. And you give yourself permission to want more and to charge accordingly. And this is what a lot of people miss. You do the identity work, and this is a big one, my friends. You have to start seeing yourself as a business owner and not just a dietitian. You have to believe that your work has value beyond just being a service provider. Okay? So we have to address our limiting beliefs. We have to audit our life capacity, and then we create life systems that support business growth. And this means setting boundaries that actually protect your work and your energy, your work time and your energy. So, getting support where you need it, whether that's childcare, housekeeping, meal prep, whatever it takes to free up your mental bandwidth. And you design your environment to support your focus work. And you develop tools for nervous system regulation because running a business is stressful and you need ways to ground under pressure. Okay. You need to be grounded when things get crazy. You can't be trying to do all of the things, as I used to say. You have to create systems in your life that support your business growth. They're not teaching you this when you sign up for a course on how to get more Instagram followers or how to run your Facebook ads, or even when you hire a personal coach. If that coach is not trained in mindset, if they're only trained in business growth and strategy and marketing and sales, these are the missing pieces, my friends. All right. Now, this fourth and final step is all about aligning your business model with your life. And this is where you do capacity based planning. You build your business based on your actual bandwidth and not someone's idealized version of how much you think you should be able to handle. Okay. You focus on energy giving work, the kind of work that lights you up instead of the work that depletes you. And usually that happens when we're doing work that we think we should be doing instead of the work that we really truly are gifted at doing. Okay. You create sustainable systems that support long term success and not just quick wins that'll burn you out. And you make sure that everything you're building actually reflects your values and who you are. Because there's no point in creating a successful business that requires you to be someone that you are not. So, let me give you some real life examples of what this could look like in practice. I had a client who came to me wanting some marketing help, and she couldn't figure out why her content wasn't converting and why people weren't buying from her. But when we dug a little deeper, we discovered that she was trying to work while she was being the primary caretaker for her elderly parent. And she was also managing her kids' schedules and dealing with the husband who traveled a lot for work. So she had maybe an hour a day of focus work time, but she was trying really hard to implement some strategies that really and truly require 20 hours of work per week. So once we addressed her unique capacity issues and got her some help with caregiving and set up some systems for managing her household and negotiated some boundaries with her family, her business started growing almost immediately. Not because we changed her marketing strategy, but really she finally had the mental and the emotional bandwidth to show up a little bit better. Okay. And a lot of times, these things are things that we know we probably need to do, or things that we know would help, but we need permission to do them. This isn't rocket science stuff, but oftentimes, as women, we believe we should be doing all the things and we can handle it and yada, yada, yada. And we just most times need permission, and we need a little guidance and support along the way. Okay. Now, I also had another client who thought she needed sales training because she just kept undercharging and losing clients to cheaper alternatives. But the real issue wasn't her sales skills. It was that she didn't believe she was worth premium prices, and she was pricing out of fear instead of really pricing based on the value that she provides. So we did some deep inner work around her worth, and we examined the real outcomes that she actually provided for her clients. And I helped her see that undercharging was actually doing a disservice to the people that she wanted to help. And within a couple of months, she doubled her prices and was booking out her programs. Okay. So here's what I want to share about what I've observed working with my clients. When their businesses are thriving, there are always certain elements in place. Usually, they have clear boundaries around their work time. They are doing their own inner work consistently. They're charging what their services are worth because they believe in the value and the outcomes that they provide their clients. But when life gets overwhelming, when they're dealing with family crises and trying to hold space for clients without their own support, sometimes they abandon all of that foundation work and they start making decisions from survival mode instead of abundance. And then their business reflects that almost immediately. So, the lesson in this is that the foundation work isn't separate from your business success, it is your business success. So, where do you start? Okay. I want you to know that if any of this is resonating with you, there are 3 questions that I want to invite you to ask yourself right now. First, what life circumstances are currently working against my business success? Maybe it's the lack of childcare. Maybe it's a relationship that's draining your energy, or maybe it's trying to work in a chaotic environment. Whatever it is, I want you to get specific about what's actually making it hard for you right now to show up powerfully in your business. Second, what limiting belief is costing me the most money? That's the next question I want you to ask yourself. Okay. Limiting beliefs are really sneaky because we don't know that they are actually holding us back because we actually believe it's true. Okay. So, what limiting belief is costing you the most money? Is it the undercharging? Is it not believing that people will pay for your services? Is it that you are thinking you have to do everything yourself, I want you to identify one belief that is literally having the biggest financial impact right now. And the third question I want you to ask yourself is this: if I could only fix one thing to support my business growth, what would it be? Because I don't want you to try to tackle everything at once, my friend. I want you to just pick one thing that would make the biggest difference and start there. Okay. And this is what I want you to remember also. This foundation work is business strategy. It's not something that you do before you get to the real business work. Okay. It's the most important business work that you can do. And I want you to please get support for this because this work is hard to do all by yourself. It's almost impossible. And as you know, it is exactly what I specialize in helping dietitians navigate. I help my dietitian clients build sustainable businesses by tackling the deeper life dynamics that drive success. So, if this episode resonated with you, I want you to do two things aside from asking yourself those three questions. First, I want you to share it with another dietitian who is tired of the surface level business advice that doesn't address what's really going on. Okay, I like to equate my work to root cause integrative and functional nutrition, right? We get to the root cause. We don't just do the surface level stuff. This is root cause business coaching. All right. So, first and foremost, share this episode with another dietitian who is truly tired of the surface level business advice that does not address what's really going on. And second, if you are ready to stop flailing forward, my friend, and start building a business and a life that actually kind of commingles together, I would love to talk with you about how we can work together. Okay. And right now, I am actually engaged, or would I say engaged? No, I am actually in the middle of offering what I call a la carte coaching sessions. And if you've been a part of my email community, you already know about a la carte coaching sessions. And I just sent an email to my list yesterday, as a matter of fact. So I want to offer the same to you. The a la carte coaching sessions are coaching sessions that are just one off sessions that I believe most of my dietitian community loves because there is no month to month commitment. Okay. These are one off sessions. You can sign up for one hour session. You can sign up for multiple 1 hour sessions. You get to decide. Okay. So maybe you are dreaming of the day that you can leave your 9 to 5, but you don't know what the first step should be. Or maybe you are stuck at the same revenue ceiling, which happens often, especially if you are accepting insurance as payment. You will eventually get stuck at the same revenue ceiling. Or maybe you're working harder, but just not earning more because there's only so much time that you can give. I want you to know that the a la carte coaching sessions are such um, a great thing. It's a great thing to have and sign up for because you and I can work together to get to the root, not just the surface level of I need more clients kind of stuff. Okay. We get to the real story of what I just talked about in this whole episode. Okay. And then I also help you create the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. And you leave these calls with an action plan, but most importantly, you just leave different. Okay, because number one, we're getting to the root. Number two, we're bridging the gap. And number three, you feel really good. And a lot of times my clients say, man, I would have never been able to figure this out myself. So, my friends, if you are tired of being limited by insurance, reimbursement rates, or maybe you have your degree and your credentials, but you still feel like you have to justify your prices, or maybe you are just ready to stop hiding behind the computer and get yourself out there, okay? Head to the link in the show notes to sign up for one of the a la carte coaching sessions. Now, these a la carte coaching sessions are only going to be available to sign up for until Sunday, August 31st of 2025. Okay. You get to actually sign up for multiple sessions beyond August 31st, but the link will be valid only until August 31st of 2025. So if you're listening to this episode on Thursday, August 28th, anytime between the 28th and the 31st, you can sign up for an a la carte coaching session or two so we can address your root issues so you can get your career going and start helping more people. I haven't recorded a long episode like this in a long time, but this was a much needed episode. So, like I said, thank you so much for being here. Share this episode with another dietitian that you know needs to hear this message about the root and getting to it, and why traditional business coaching, business courses, and memberships just do not work for some of us. It's because we're not addressing our life circumstances and our capacity and our limiting beliefs. Thank you so much again for being here. I look forward to being with you again next week for another episode. Have a great rest of your day and the weekend ahead, my friends. Bye for now. Hey there, my friend. If something in today's episode hit different, I'd love that for you. This week, I invite you to take one action that feels a little scary, yet honors your work. And for more resources and ways to work together, head on over to manipuracenter.co. Remember, you're not asking for too much, my friend. You've just been settling for too little.